apparently, so Hasan went on Trash Taste. So this didn't go very well at all. So Trash Taste, for anybody who doesn't know, is probably the most popular anime podcast right now in the world. And they talk about anime. They decided to bring Hasan on the podcast.
So on February 21st, Hasan was on the Trash Taste podcast. And there's a flood of backlash in the comment section about Trash Taste having this dude on their show.
Well, let me see. I'll pull it up right now. It's actually getting way more unpopular. Like yesterday, it had 16,000 to 15,000 likes, and it actually still had a positive like ratio. Now it's 18,000 to 28,000. That's nuts. That's brutal, man. You'd think that they'd be more positive to somebody who interviewed Luffy, but I guess not.
Hasan is aware of the backlash, and he does not seem happy, making a number of responses addressing it. So let's take a look at all this stuff and let me know what you think. First off, some analytics. The video currently has 293,002.
God damn. And look at it now. That's in one day, bro. A singular day.
And this is after Hasan directed his viewers to essentially combat what he's calling the brigading. First, a brief clip of the podcast itself. Just seems fitting to play at least like, short portion of that. Then we'll take a look at some of the comments so you can get some more of the context.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Trash Taste. I'm joined once again by the boys and we have a returning guest because you're back in Japan now.
Hell yeah, I'm here permanently now. I've decided. This time it's for real.
You self-deported?
For real?
Yeah, now that my country's on fire, I chose Japan to just stay here.
Okay.
Whoa. But yeah, we got Hasan. He's back.
Yeah.
No politics, sorry.
Yeah. No politics, all right? I don't want to hear it.
I love how they can't get 30 seconds into the episode without this dude bringing politics up. I'd prefer my anime discussion not to involve a guy who celebrated the death of innocent civilians in no less than 2 different recent modern conflicts, and who carries water for authoritarian regimes and celebrates terrorists indiscriminately attacking civilian vessels at sea, abducting their crews, and who still stone women to death for not obeying their every command.
Thanks.
Another one saying, I've been a viewer of the Anime Man and Giga for more than a decade. As a female viewer, I am absolutely disgusted seeing 3 men, the biggest...
I wonder if I went on the podcast, who would have a worse dislike ratio. I wonder what would happen. Me, maybe, I don't know. I'm actually curious.
Who thought having Hasan is a good idea. This isn't just a simple drama that can be ignored. That's like saying 9/11 is just drama, then proceed to have Bin Laden or Al-Qaeda members as guests to talk about their favorite video games.
Bro, these comments are out of pocket. Oh my God. It would be crazy. If Bin Laden was still around, there would be people that would invite him on a podcast and ask him about anime. I guarantee you that would happen.
Been following both Joey and Giguk since 2015, but now I'm unsubscribing. Not gonna watch someone who endorses terrorism by hosting this guy. Once again, those comments were just some of the comments that you can find by sorting by top comments. And it seems like there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of comments where people share similar sentiment. Interestingly enough, the pinned comment is from Trash Taste, and they say, we don't and have never deleted comments on any episodes. Yeah. And this is because a number of people have been accusing them of deleting comments that are critical of Hasan. For example, this tweet that reads, Trash Taste is getting heat for having Hasan Piker on the podcast, and then deleting comments critical of him. That account making a follow-up tweet that reads, even the Trash Taste Reddit wasn't impressed.
Jesus.
Going on to quote, first time seeing a 50% like to dislike ratio on a track.
Well, it's not the first time. You didn't see 50% because it's less than that now. It's like a third. It's way less. Yeah,
now those comments are just gone. Is the person who manages the channel actually deleting them? Taking a look at the provided screenshots, we can see there's actually a lot more to that comment. The full comment reading. The first thing I did when this episode came out was scroll down to the comments. There were hundreds of them expressing the fact that they did not like having Hasan back. Some of them had almost 1,000 likes. Now those comments are just gone. Is the person who manages the channel actually deleting them? Please let this just be a YouTube glitch, because otherwise, wow, that would be low. As we already went over, Trash Taste made a very brief response denying that any comments were deleted. Still, it's very interesting that comments on both Reddit
It's just so hard to say, right? I mean, there's a chance that they did it, but as somebody who's familiar with YouTube's system, there's also a chance that they didn't.
Editors note it's most likely the comments were mass reported through Hasan's counter brigade, thus triggering YouTube's automod, which removed them.
Speaking of the Trash Taste subreddit, let's hop over there and take a look. Specifically this post that reads, seems like Hasan has brigaded his community to quote-unquote get in and actively counter the brigade. The comment section. And linking to a tweet that we'll take a look at next. As for the post itself, it got 563 upvotes
Wow.
before being locked by the
Got
moderators.
locked.
With this mod, leaving a pinned comment, a sticky comment rather, that says, for anyone reading this, if you are not interested in talking about the actual content of the Trash Taste podcast episode, please don't make comments. All you're doing is making our volunteering harder, where we'll just have to lock certain posts and remove posts as well.
I think like it's a complicated topic because like when you cover a lot of like really divisive and controversial stuff, you become divisive and controversial. Like there's nobody who covers this kind of stuff that isn't like that. Like whether it's Hasan, me, XQC, anybody who talks about any of these controversial topics, they do have a huge amount of people that get mad about them. The issue is that there's a lot of people that they view things like trash taste or they view like content as non-political content. Once somebody gets kind of like labeled like that and people don't like them like that, that's it, right? That's totally it. It's natural. What I'm saying is like this is how it happens, is that if you cover controversial topics like that, you're going to get these comments. You will. Like, whether you, like, this is just the way it is. Like, it doesn't matter, like, whether you think that you should or not. Like, you cover controversial topics, you talk about things that are extreme, you are going to have people that are going to say this shit because they're going to be pissed off. Like, it's kind of like the same argument that I used with, like, woke video games. So if you bring on somebody who's like extremely controversial, politically minded, etc., you're going to alienate a lot of those people. And the reason why is because a lot of people use video content, like things like Trash Taste, as an escape from the real world. Like there's a lot of people that I'm friends with privately, but like they don't want to do shit with me publicly because of like all the drama that I'm involved with, right? And I think that makes sense. Like, and I don't really think like, because you got to keep in mind, like this is their job. This is their job. It's their career. And so, like, am I going to ask somebody to, like, fucking, like, put your career at risk because of me? Like, what is this? Like, no, bro. Like, this is your job. It's your life. And so I totally understand it. I totally get it. But pussies, they're not pussies. They just, like, everybody does things that they wouldn't do normally because of their employment. That's just how it is. That's life. There are people that wear uniforms, people that, report to bosses that they don't like, and they are polite and cordial with them, even though they wish they could tell them to fuck off. That's life. They're pussies? No, I mean, to a degree, I agree. And I actually think the world would be a better place if nobody took any of these comments about anybody seriously and everybody just let anybody talk about anything and nobody gave a fuck and people just thought about the ideas and the conversations rather than getting fixated on it. I agree. I think that's true. But that doesn't mean that other people are going to think the way that I do, right? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to help the situation.
Yeah.
Well, this presents a very fun opportunity. Let's take a look at some of the top comments on that post that the mod apparently
But you shouldn't be surprised, by the way. You should not be surprised. If people don't want to deal with you or like you get a negative reaction like this is just how it is. Because you talk about topics that are like really personal to people and they get in there.
For example, this top response that talks about how pathetic it is to issue some kind of counter brigade and how that's also a brigade. The next one reading, yeah, that was
the reason why Hasan's doing it. I'll tell you the reason why. I mean, maybe I'm mind reading, but I'm just thinking about it from my perspective. He's probably doing it because he wants to be able to collab and do stuff with these other people. But if enough people hate on it, the fact is that Trash Taste receives income. It is a capitalistic venture. It makes money. Like maybe they would do it for free, but they'd sure have a harder time getting everything edited and getting everything shot and getting cameramen in there, having somebody make a set, etc. Right? If enough people don't like you, then it becomes not worth it to collaborate with you. Because like, for example, like bringing somebody on like Elon Musk, for example, or like Donald Trump, like that's like a huge amount of popularity, but it's also a huge amount of hate. But because they're so popular, it's like a net positive. If other people feel like collaborating with you is a net negative, they're not going to want to collaborate with you. And then you get alienated. Then you have people that won't defend you. And then you get kind of like, separated from the group. Is the country just polemic? We're promoting killing people. No, I'm just saying like that's the reason why he's trying to do that. Because if you don't do that, then these people that are on the show are going to think to themselves, well, we don't want to lose money. We don't want to have people hate our show. I don't want to bring this guy on again when the last time we brought him on, everybody got mad. You see what I'm saying?
Right below that, this comment reading, great. Another creator telling his community to counteract the hate. Looks like this is going to be more than a 12-hour drama.
It's been on for,
then there's this one that reads, Of all the things he could have done to calm the flame, he just sends it into a blaze. This one's really funny because of how things played out. So this comment says, will the mods A, ban Hasan for brigading, B, delete this post, cue Jeopardy music? Turns out it was actually option C, lock the post and threaten to remove comments. Okay.
I think that you should allow people to discuss this kind of stuff. Like in general, like I can understand a hate thread like not really wanting to be on there. But like I generally don't even delete a lot of hate threads on like I'll give you an example, right? Like now I'm not saying that I never delete hate threads. Of course I've done it before whenever I feel like they get really personal or they get really weird or whatever. But like let me just go and I'll give you an example. This one here. So like this has 3,000 comments. A lot of these comments are Amber Heard, not a single event, infinite money, nerf toast. Now, like a lot of these comments are negative, right? Look at his face, like a kid going. I mean, Trump's funny. I think so too. But anyway, last Amber Heard Johnny Depp was entertaining. Generally, don't get how people can sit through it. So like a lot of people are being critical on the subreddit. But like this is about the content of the event, right? It's about the content of the stream. And so, like, if people don't like that, that's fine. Trump's a content machine. I miss transmog competitions, viewer raids. Yeah, people are not happy about it. And so, like, you have to let people have people saying to stop launching him, right? I mean, this is always how it is. So, like, I let these go through. Now, like, at a certain point, it could be too much, right? But especially if it's somebody's criticizing the content, the actual content itself, and it's not being made personal or like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. It's not personal. Then like you have to let people say that kind of stuff, because if you don't, then it's not like those people are going to go away. They're just going to get more radicalized and get more angry.
Hasan Malds, while reading hate comments from his Trash Taste podcast episode, directs his audience to quote unquote get in and actively counter the brigade. And here's the clip.
Mr. President, the second piker has hit the trash taste. Why would you do this, Hasan? Really, the terrorist endorser? Shame. Too bad. I get irritated from just seeing his face. The guy has said so many profoundly idiotic things that I honestly cannot listen to a word from him. The brigade is on, folks. Get in and actively counter the brigade. They dislike botted the video immediately. Lol, is at 2.5K dislikes.
For sure.
You really upset
it's
the
not dislike botted. If you have 20,000 comments like that, it's not dislike botted, because dislike bot like and dislike botting comments would not be the same. It's not botted.
That dude in chat trying to blame all the dislikes on some like dislike bot is just the icing on the cake. But wait, there's another clip to take a look at. This one that reads, "Chatter tells Hasan he's out of touch," which he didn't appreciate.
That's bad.
Because sometimes we'll stare into the darkness on this broadcast. Like we'll look at like what they're saying, and they just can't comprehend how like journalists are still covering this guy in a positive way. What the f is going on? And it's like, dude, why do you think like a 40-year-old journalist has no political convictions of their own? Like you think they're going to be deluded by like a drama farmer on YouTube, like a slop tuber, and be like, wow, this is a real bad guy?
I don't think that there's actually as big of a difference between journalism and slop content on YouTube. I'm going to be honest. I really don't think so. I think that like a lot of things that pass for journalism immediately go to YouTube. And in fact, I actually think that a lot of the slop content on YouTube is better. That's why when a lot of journalists go to YouTube, they end up getting no views. It's because people don't want to listen to it and people think they're full of shit. The problem is that with a lot of these journalists and these people that do this stuff, they do have political convictions, but the problem is that those convictions are not popularly held. And that's the issue. That's the fundamental problem that exists with like kind of the difference between like media and the public, is that the media is trying to push forward a narrative that the public doesn't agree with and respect. Like, who do you think really is getting more views on these things, right? Is this random newspaper that's having like every single metric for this newspaper is going down? Do you think that's what's getting more views, or do you think that this video that's getting millions of views on YouTube is getting views, right? I mean, which one do you think more people are seeing?
You think they haven't seen internet harassment campaigns before? Yeah. You are so out of touch, holy hell. No, brother, I'm not the one who's out of touch. The people that are going, we hate you because we think this person is an evil person, me, okay? We think your friend that you know better, okay, is actually secretly an evil person because we've seen YouTube videos from rabid haters is an active line of attack. The assumption that
this guy's getting banned.
You as a random commenter online is not out of touch, but I am, because what you expect in terms of like retaliation towards someone like myself is not matching the reality is hilarious.
Dude's really trying to sound not out of touch by citing journalists. Like, oh, 40-year-old journalists support me. As if the opinion of some random journalists prove he's a morally good and not out of touch person. He doesn't even realize that the majority of people despise journalists and don't trust them. It's probably one of the most out of touch things he actually could have said to use for his argument.
Yeah, the journalists are not... journalism nowadays is activism. Most people are not interested in relaying the truth. They're interested in trying to push an agenda. Yeah, I think it becomes readily evident when you have lie campaigns, like, for example, the campaign about, like, Black Myth Wukong. That was a complete lying campaign. And it's pushed universally with every single group with no pushback. It's because these people are playing on a team. There's not an objective viewpoint here. He just severely underestimates how many people actively dislike him. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't like... I mean, it's very simple, right? I mean, if you look at, like, the elections, you look at, like, a lot of people's opinions, it definitely seems like way less people are agreeing with, like, any sort of, like, super leftist point of view. I think that you're seeing, like, a massive, like, cultural shift away from that. Like it or hate it, but that is the truth.
Of apparently not being out of
touch.
touch.
So if you have these opinions that nobody agrees with and, like, the culture is moving away from, you're going to get a lot of negative feedback.
And lastly, there's this tweet that reads, Hasan denies his lolcow status, and in the clip, he's actually still going on about the whole out of touch thing. So let's take a look.
How do you not understand that? Things will keep shocking you over and over again if you are so echo chambered and hug boxed that you genuinely believe that I am considered lolcow by anyone that is a normal human being who goes outside. Okay? That's the problem. You're like a 40-year-old dude on Twitch right now being like, you're the one who's out of touch, Hasan, because in spite of the fact that you are one of the most popular content creators on Twitch, I still think me and my homies think you're a bad guy. And the more you don't realize that other people don't see it the way that you do, the more you just make up conspiracies in your mind. You can say womp womp all day, but the real womp is happening to you, old man. Calm down.
Why does he keep using this whole, like, 40-year-old thing? Like, oh, yes, the 40-year-old journalists support me. And then this time he's mad at the chatter, saying he's like a 40-year-old dude on Twitch. But anyways, I think it's really funny
that's a very good point, by the way. Like, you're saying, like, old people are the ones that are credible in this case, but old people are the ones that are not credible in basically the same thing. It's a very good point.
He's talking about conspiracy theories, but had nothing to say about conspiracy theories when there was this chatter saying, like, all the dislikes are just some, like, bots disliking the video. So when it's convenient for him, things are conspiracy theories, but when it's not convenient for him, they're not conspiracy theories, apparently. And let me get this part straight. So his defense for being a good person is that journalists support him and that he's one of the most viewed people on Twitch. Is that really the argument that he's going with?
I think if you really want to tell if somebody is a good person or not, you should look at how many negative interactions they've had with other people that they've interacted with on a personal level. So, like, if, for example, you have somebody who all of the time crashes out and there's, like, drama with other people, etc., then they're going to be the ones that are going to have the problem. Like, it's basically like if you're the common denominator, you are probably also the problem.
We'll take a look at is this tweet that says, Hasan rallies the troops in his Twitter community. The screenshot provided reading, I don't think it's all organic trash taste fans, to be honest. I got lots of weirdos roaming the web recently. It's okay to correct the record, in my opinion. They get away with saying a lot of totally ridiculous things. Everyone is capable of making up their mind if they simply watch the stream.
Again, this is like, it's something that's, like, partially true, but it's also true Hasan said a lot of out-of-pocket stuff. Like, I mean, people come to this conclusion by watching clips of what he says, too. Like, I mean, it's not that simple.
Yeah, people watch the stream and make up their own opinion, but when that opinion's negative, then it's not organic, it's not authentic. That can't be right. It's got to be bots. It's got to be brigading. Anyways, let me know what you think about this whole trash taste Hasan situation. I believe
and I do think that there are, I mean, again, like, I do think for sure there are people that are going to go and they're not really trash taste fans. They're just Hasan anti-fans. And they're going to go and dislike the video because of that. Like, that's absolutely true. Anybody could assume that's true, of course. It doesn't mean that, like, their concerns are invalid.
Most important stuff that we went over. As always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my coverage. And if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is what happens with a lot of people. And again, it's like if you cover, like, really controversial topics and you cover controversial content like this... what ends up happening is that you're going to alienate a lot of people. And that's what's happened with me. That's what's happened with Hasan. As I said, I can give a big list of people that, you know, there are probably a lot of people that would do more things with Hasan publicly if less people hated him. Like, just straight up, that's the truth. Because you've got to keep in mind that, again, like, streaming is a job. You know, YouTube is a job. Like, whether you want to say, oh, it's our real job. Yeah, but they're making money off of it, and they need that money to live. So whatever you want to call that, that's what it is. Do they want to do something that gets in the way of that job? Because there's a lot of hate by association that happens. People have recently tried to do that with me. And that's why I have no problem with people distancing from me, because I understand the game and I know how it's played, right? I've streamed for a long time. I have dealt with people trying to... like, people being, you know, two-faced with stuff my entire fucking life. It's really just another day on the job. But yeah, I think that for a lot of these shows, especially shows that are about anime and like other types of escapism things, bringing somebody on that has like a really controversial reputation like Hasan, it's very risky, and you risk alienating your audience in a big way.